Yo, what's up, everybody? This your awkward king Zay. Welcome to episode number 3. We made it 3, y'all. To Fidelity Xone, the podcast. This episode is entitled "Give Folks Their Flowers." And if you know me, you've been following me for like on Instagram, Twitter, or whatever. You know I am a man that likes to give people their flowers. I like to let people know how I feel about them in the moment, so I don't have to be that person like the woulda, coulda, shoulda, wouldas. I don't know, something my grandma would say. When they're no longer here, and I wish that I would have said those things to them. I wish I would have expressed like how I feel about them. And on this episode, I'm really excited. I'm joined by someone who I am inspired by since I met them. Like, we worked together at one point, but like even before then, I was like, that dude, yeah, I like him. He is an entrepreneur. He is a black creative. I put black in the front of everything because that is what represents everything that represents me. Sounds kind of weird. But he is a chef. He is a dope human being. And I'm so excited that the stars aligned and we are able to sit down and have a conversation. And I'm able to give him his flowers today. On the last episode, I spoke about my last two guests, Queen Gazzy B and Mr. Loopy, being two people that I wanted on my podcast because I've done podcasting and I've been a part of different shows, and I wanted them. They were like top 5 on the list. Well, number 1 was this guy right here. Ever since we met, like, I just been like inspired. Like, he can say one thing and I'll be like, oh yeah, I like that. And without further ado, I want to introduce to y'all Antonio Wooten.
Yeah.
Wooten. I thought I was gonna mess up the last name. I like saying it. I be saying it like out loud a lot. But yo, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yo, you are the personification to me of the cool kids. Like, when I look up like cool kids, they should have your picture next to it in Webster. But yo, how you been, man?
Good. Blessed and highly favored.
Yes, Clark sisters. It's been like, man, like when I first met you, I was working at Uncle Bobby's. Damn, is this the Uncle Bobby's show? I talk about them a lot on it, but shout out to them. And you came in and you were having like a meeting with your team. And I was like, I was growing my hair for locks at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw your hair. I'm like, yo, Falong. That's one of my friends and old coworkers. I was like, yo, I want my hair to be like that. He's like, your hair can't grow. He's a hater. You know he's a hater. He's that bull. But I would see you regularly at the shop, and like, yo, I just want to be his friend. And also, besides being his friend, I wanted one of those stickers. He had these. We're going to talk about the company that he runs. I'm actually wearing a shirt from that company. We're going to talk about that later. But I'm just really excited to be here with you.
Likewise.
We're going to jump right into things. Tell me about your upbringing. Like, where are you from? Who are the people responsible for raising such a dope young man?
Yeah. I always got to represent the set.
Hey.
I'm from Ohio, originally Cincinnati, Ohio. So Midwesterner, if you will. Oldest of 7. I am, product of teen pregnancy. My parents had me when they were kids. And I, had the privilege of witnessing, I guess, them grow up, if you know what I mean.
Right.
My mom makes a joke that I actually went to college twice because I would be in
school
school
with her, and then you.
Yeah, I would be in school with her like late nights, if not with my grandmother, who was essentially my second set of my grandparents, my second set of parents. I think the story is still being written, but I think in between then, as I said, my mother is somebody I'm really close to, and I would say I look up to. Also along the way, I was active in sports, and I had a stint as a theater kid. Nice. But I describe it as theater adjacent because I was never really into theater. It was kind of circumstantial. They usually cherry pick the guys because there's never enough. I was. It's funny you say cool kid because I think that I probably self-identify as a nerd or a weird kid. I played golf as well. Like, I did a lot of odd things. I've always been a curious soul, and I think that curiosity is kind of what, like, in a lot of ways connects me to the people that I'm connected with now. So, that's in a nutshell.
Nice. Do you remember You told me where you were from before we were working together, and I heard something completely different. I did not hear Ohio. I heard Hawaii.
Yeah.
So I remember when it started getting cold in Philly, I was like, "Yo, what's the weather like in
Hawaii.
what's the
This is
weather like
crazy.
in Hawaii during the winter?"
Yeah.
And you said something along the lines like, "I don't know." I'm like, "Well, aren't you from there?" And you were like, so confused. I heard Hawaii, and I instantly equated you to Otto Rocket from Rocket Power, and I'm like, "Yep, that's him.
That's a classic TV
That's
show.
who he is. He's a cool kid. That's what it is."
Yeah. I actually did go to Hawaii last summer though.
You did.
Yeah.
And I remember commenting like, "You're finally at your home."
Yeah.
Yo, so we're gonna talk about your creative mind and like how your mind works. And I just recently was watching an interview that Kanye West did, and he was talking about. Let me look at my notes. He was talking about how he feels that he is a genius that has been sent here to educate more people, to tap into their genius. How do you feel about that? That quote.
It's bold, but Kanye is bold.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, it sounds like it was a vision to him from God, right? I think that we all have some purpose to fulfill and or see through, like while we are on this earth. I think I don't know that that's my calling per se, but I think that something I'm coming to recognize and is actualized through, my creative endeavors or businesses. Like I have a calling to connect people. I think in a plethora of ways, but especially like on a relational level, just to kind of be that connective tissue for people. I think that sometimes people don't realize the thing that they're missing is other people. Like this life stuff is really difficult to do, by yourself. So ironically, when a lot of people get into entrepreneurship, I think that it's motivated by the idea of like self, like I want to be perceived as like this or seen or heard. And a lot of times like I'm not at the center of what I do, which if you look at even, the name of it, it's like it's plural for a reason because it's bigger than me, but also because I understand that, for what it's worth, maybe it's charisma, maybe it's my patience, maybe my, ability to listen, but people seem to want to be around me, which is a good thing, I assume. I think that where I'm progressing toward is turning that into a business, if you will, and or just like institutionalizing it, if that makes sense, so that I could continue to spread what I believe is truth. Yeah.
Dope. You are so dope. Like, that's my in studio audience. I got 5-4 here. I got DJ Tragic. I got Jay in the building. So talking about your brand, Artists Need Lunch Money. First, I want to get into what inspired the name, and also what inspired you to start it.
Yeah. So it actually was a joke. So a friend of mine who's an artist had been wanting to do an exhibition for some while, and we were just going back and forth trying to ideate on what that meant or what that looked like. And at some point in the conversation, I made a joke like just about the idea of us both wanting to transition to doing our creative endeavors full time. I was like, oh, like if you had enough money for lunch and some leftover for art supplies, like would you sustain? Like would you be good? It's like, yeah, I mean, I don't need much. It's like, oh, I guess artists need lunch money. Ha ha ha. Like, like.
And it's stuck.
And it's stuck. Good. Yeah. And for what it's worth, it became that launch event. And when we launched the event, we decided to do merchandise because, he's doing paint, like one on the wall, right? You do paintings and artists charge a decent amount because you have to make the money back from all the supplies they're going to make it in the time. And for what it's worth, we knew our audience weren't people who were out here buying or like who could realistically afford, artwork, but maybe they could afford a hoodie or a t-shirt. Subsequently, fast forward a little bit, we had a bunch of merch left over, wanted to move it. And long story short, the business was created out of that interest, right? Like people really gravitated toward the message. And at the time I was a junior in college in design school. You're obviously around a bunch of artsy kids. So people keep asking about it. It's like, okay, maybe this is a business, but I guess to clarify, I didn't actually set out to start a business. I kind of set out to help a friend. And that kind of grew into what you see now.
It kind of grew into something that is pretty dope to me. Like I oftentimes wear. I bought 2 tote bags from you.
Mhm.
The first one I bought, I still have is over there. Um, that was like that bag was a diaper bag for my daughter. That has been like my work bag. That has been the podcasting bag. That has been like an all-purpose bag. And then I ordered the tie-dye Johns.
Yeah.
I ordered one and I gave it to my coworker Shani. Shout out to Shani. You coming on the show next?
Yeah, she's a seamstress, right?
Yeah,
I've seen some of her work.
amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. I gave it to her because she was like, I really want one of them. I was like, all right, I'll give it to you. Let me hit him up and see if he got any more. Hit you up, and you was like, I'm gonna just give it to you on this. Like you support. You gave it to me. Next week, my sister was like, Yo, Dan don't have any more of those bags, and I saw that you got another one. So she has that one. I don't have that one.
Yeah.
But yo, so I got a question.
Mm-hmm.
This is an interview, so we have questions. Do you have lunch money?
Not enough. No.
Not enough.
Not enough lunch
So
money, no.
it's 3 people in the audience. They're gonna all cash app you $5 each. You can get you a nice little sandwich from one of these.
Do they know they doing that?
Huh?
They know that they.
They don't know now. They're doing it now. They're gonna cash app you. You're gonna give me your cash app at the end. They're gonna give you some lunch money.
Beautiful.
Cause we ain't funded yet. We don't got no sponsors yet. So
Yes.
I can't be like Oprah and be like, yo, bro, look under your chair. I can't do that.
Yeah.
So I want to tell about some of my inspirations, and I want you to tell me about some of your inspirations. When I started doing media, journalism, because this is a form of journalism. The people with the degrees, they gonna say, "Fuck that, you ain't go." No, but it's okay. You good? You paid all that money. But I grew up watching shows like 106 in Park, Rap City in the Basement, Cedarsboro.
Yeah.
You know Cedarsboro? Ooh, I'm gonna send you clips because it was like this.
Yeah.
She was like a
I might need to still see it.
what do you call it? Those
A Vice line type?
they're not like a cartoon, but they're like kind of like like
Puppets.
Jimmy
String
Neutron,
puppet.
that type of animation.
Okay.
That Pixar stuff. She was like one of them, but
Yeah.
she was like an around the way type of John. Like she would be on there talking about people's baby mom and stuff, and I'm like, oh, I like her. I in the very early stages of my life, I watched Yo MTV Raps with my dad, and that was like the pioneering hip hop show, and it happened to be on a white network. And then I often say like people like Charlemagne, Joe Budden, Mark Lamont Hill. These people inspired me to want to be a host, like to want to just sit down and have conversations and have like dope conversations with people. Who are some of the people that inspired you? Like, whether it be like family, somebody like that we all know, or like, and what was it about them that made you want to keep like going at your passion?
Man, yeah, that's a great question. Who are the people that inspire me? I think one of the earliest people that inspired me, and I talk about this just like in significance of like education, like why it's important to see people that look like you. I remember my second grade teacher, her name was Miss McGee. Don't quote me on this, but I think that she was dating the mayor of the city. I thought that was
Shout
crazy.
out Miss McGee.
I thought it was crazy in and of itself. Like, yo, like she's dating the mayor. She would like, and I don't think she just did this with me, but I have vivid memories of her telling me from a young age, like, you're going to be somebody. Like, I can see your name in, like, bright lights, like, really pouring into me. I was always flattered by, I didn't understand, second grade, barely had an understanding of what it meant, but that carried with me, throughout life, even in the ebbs and flows, because that is my earliest memory of a teacher who also happens to be a black woman. So she's somebody, that inspired me. I think, my mom, my grandmother, they are like, not just for what they've done in my life as to being working moms who also do domestic work, but like the way they show up, for myself and other people, I think is really admirable. I gotta say, like, my close friends, obviously these people I met a little later in life, but, had a like indelible mark on my college experience. I think that some people, everybody has like different experiences when they go to college. I think for me, like, I met some of the like dopest people who still I live with right now. Like they're my roommates. Got to shout out the exes too along the way. They taught me some things about what I did want or didn't want. Yeah. I mean, I guess if I even had to go as far as to say like women in general have probably been like a consistent, like not just for the ways they give, but also the ways that they like see the world from a different point of view. I think is like a big one. And then like getting into celebrity influences. It's funny you mentioned like Wendy Williams and people that like you watch frequently. I've been really into Van Lathan's podcast with Rachel Lindsay.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
Van Lathan, I tap into him a lot.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, he's good. He's funny, but also like very knowledgeable. And I think I appreciate that because sometimes like, you got to make light of this stuff that's going on in the world, but you also want to know what's going on. So it doesn't like work against you.
Yo, do you follow him on Twitter? I mean, not Twitter, Instagram?
I don't.
Yo, follow him on Instagram.
Yeah.
I repost a lot of his stuff because he has a take on things that I kind of like have the same take, but I feel like if I said it, it'll kind of be like, oh, what do you know? But
right.
like him, it's like he's him, so it's like he can kind of do things and say things a little differently.
Yeah.
So
and get away with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So during COVID, 2020 was hard for everybody.
Yeah.
So you were a senior at, oh my God, it's called Jefferson now.
Yeah. Philly U.
When you started, it was Philly U, right?
Yeah, changed about halfway through.
Okay.
Yeah.
So were you able to choose what you wanted it to say on your, no?
Nah,
Okay.
unfortunately.
All right. So you were living in Philly, then you moved back to
Ohio, yeah. It was like
you
ghost town.
There, or were you?
Yeah, so school went virtual pretty much for like the latter half of second semester, senior year. I was home. Didn't know how long I was gonna be home. I was telling myself I was home for an extended spring break. It was a long spring break to say the least. And I think to speak to what sucked the most, because you talk about how hard it was, I actually had plans to go, like for the first time leave the country. I was going to Japan.
Yes,
Yeah.
I remember you telling me that. Okay.
I was like working my ass off, like saving up for that trip, and yeah, it didn't happen. I think the silver lining was the time I got to spend with my family, because going away to college, I didn't really go home that much. Like I went home maybe one summer the entirety of my college career, and yeah, I really like enjoyed that time for what it was. I think I knew my time in Philly wasn't up though. So
right.
Yeah.
And you're back.
I'm back.
And it was super dope. Your family gave you like a really, really cool graduation.
Yeah.
And I saw that on your Instagram. And I was like,
yeah.
aw. Because I was watching like other people because
the virtual graduations.
COVID was different. It was new. It was none of us had ever been on lockdown. So I was watching people on like Instagram and stuff, like having like graduations and stuff, and I saw that your family did that for you, and I thought it was like amazing.
Yeah.
You did something during COVID that that's what really made me say like, okay, this dude is different. He's on a different level of like inspiration. You were doing something where he's a cool kid. So he made gardening cool. Like he would go on Instagram. What was it called?
It was like live from the garden.
Live from the garden. And he would be in the garden, and he would just be watering and like cutting stuff, and I don't know, garden talk. And like there would be like quotes and like different sayings on like just giving people hope, because we were like hopeless. Like nobody knew what was going to happen.
Man.
Like in my head, like the first month, I thought we were going to die. I thought I was going to die broke because I didn't have a job. I didn't have unemployment.
Yeah.
Trump didn't come through with them stimmies yet. I was hurting.
Man, PPP wasn't there yet.
I looked at people like you, like you would be up bright and early too. Meanwhile, I took it as like a summer vacation. I'm waking up at, instead of 7, I'm waking up at like 11, and I'm like, oh, Antonio posted 4 hours ago. Oh, and it's inspiring, and I'm reposting to my page, and I would see some of the responses you would share from like stuff that you had posted, and I'm like, yo, this is cool. This is something that needs to keep going. And then when you stopped it, I was like, oh, I guess we back outside. It's done. It's over. But yeah, what made you start doing that?
It's one, thank you. Like you reminded me of that. I think that sometimes you do things you don't know how much it means to people or if it means anything at all. And Honestly, I think it was just cathartic for me. Like I needed to do something to like keep my mind moving. I'm a naturally person. Like I'm not necessarily busy, but I'm always looking for new adventure, if you will. So I grew up around a garden. My grandmother on my dad's side like always had a garden. I was never like super intrigued by it, but I learned a few things here and there. And we had idle time, so I was like, let's start a garden. And my mom was down for the task. My mom works in construction, so she knew how to do more than I could with the tools.
Nice.
So we put the garden together, pretty much did some raised beds, and it just became really cool. I think metaphorically, like how a garden works. Like not every I just read a quote about this the other day. It was like you don't reap the fruit when you sow the seed. Like you have to nurture it, and like I was learning from these plants like about life in an odd way, and unknowingly pouring life into other people. But like you think about like food, vegetation, etc., like our history. There's a couple reasons why I got into it. I think one was that, right, like I needed something to do. Two was like understanding this history of us as black people in this country. We typically don't take interest in agriculture because most of our history in it has been as free labor. So, it's like, why would I do that? Why, you know what I mean? Like, why would I do hard labor, But ultimately it's like, and on the other end of that, because of our distance from our food, we eat stuff that's like terrible, right? So, it's like had an adverse effect on us where like we were introduced to it in such a negative way that like we don't even want anything to do with it. But it affects us so greatly. Like the disease that kills us the most, or one of the diseases that kills us the most, is a preventable one, heart disease. Like I go down a list, I don't need to preach, but that was another component, like just knowing I had an opportunity, a privilege even to like take agency in my health, like and then also like just the reward of like, oh, I planted that, and then we had like tomatoes, we had pepper. I was giving them to people, like, because we had more than we could eat or consume. But I think those like things kind of drove me to do it. And then of course people continue to engage, and it's like, oh, I guess I gotta like create videos of people. And also I really appreciated the like feedback from people just answering questions or engaging or having different points of view, because you can't be on the phone all day every day. So
right.
yeah.
I love that. So also during COVID, I did a lot of reading, and one of the books that I read, again, because I read it when it came out, because like he's a dope person, was oh my god, I can't remember the title. God, Dapper Dan's book. Dapper Dan had a book. Yeah. And I remember sending it to you.
Yeah.
In the mail, and I like literally. To him in Hawaii, no, him in Ohio. And I was like, I went to the post office. Let me tell you how like it's crazy. I went to the post office with this book, and the line was out the door, and I'm like, shit, he don't need this book that bad. It was hot, but then I'm like, yo, I really want to give him this book because it inspired me, and I'm not even a fashion bull.
Yeah.
Like I'm a fucking hippie with a Spinelli hat. But like I was like, this dude is into fashion, and I want to give him this book, and like his Dapper Dan story is like legendary, iconic. And so I waited in the line. And I had my daughter with me, and we're waiting on this line, and this lady turned around and was like, "Oh, is that your daughter?" I was like, "Yeah, that's my daughter." She was like, "She's so cute." She was like, "I don't got nothing to do today. I'll let you in front of me." So somebody saw her do it, and then the next person let me in front of them. I ended up getting bumped to like almost the front because the lady in front of that person was like, she cute, but she ain't all that. But like, it was on some like, but I was like, I just felt like it was a purpose of me sending it to you. Did you read it?
I did.
Okay,
I actually met the man.
This story would have been horrible if you actually met the man.
Yeah, I met Dapper Dan earlier this year. His studio is on the same block that my friend lives on. Yeah. Yeah, like it's God, right? Like
that's God. That's planting seeds. We going back to. I'm a gardener, y'all.
Yeah. It was really dope. Because my friend actually runs into him frequently because she lives over there.
Yeah.
He literally just stands outside on the block. Like he's very
because he's
accessible.
He's that dude. I was watching.
Mind you, it's like he worked with people who like kill for a living. So it's like you can't scare this man.
I was just watching a Mike Tyson interview, and I'm sorry, this interview is like all over the place.
No. It's connected. Everything is connected, bro.
I'm dyslexic, so like I go like. I was watching a Mike Tyson interview because I just started watching the Hulu series they have on him that he's not in 100% agreement. He didn't sign his rights over, his life story over, whatever. But I'm still watching it because it's good.
Word.
And Dapper Dan got his store in New York. I don't know, 100 and something street. Everything is 100 and something street in New York.
Probably 125th.
Got raided.
Yeah.
Because Mike Tyson was fighting in there.
Yeah.
So he was doing a whole bunch of illegal stuff.
Yeah.
And Mike Tyson decides to fight in there, and like they shut the whole thing down. Yeah. Shut the whole thing down. Like, how does he? Like, because he was 24 hours at that point.
Right.
Like people can pull up at 3 in the. He was sleeping in the back. People can pull up at 3 in the morning and be like, "Yo, Dap, I need me a Louis Vuitton bubble coat."
Yeah.
All right, man, I got you. Let me wipe this crust out my eyes. Like he was like,
true definition of a hustler.
Yo.
Yeah.
Like seriously, Harlem World, man.
Harlem World, yeah.
Like it's crazy. Like, and just talking about him, like I want to dip into fashion with you. Who are some of your fashion influences?
Man, I mean, Dap is definitely one of them. Just like what he took and what he did with brands that were considered heritage and like made them, you know, quote unquote urban. Like, which is funny because now they're trying to be urban. Ye, I think is definitely one of them. Gosh, I probably need to put my phone to some people like who I can see their face but not their name. Peter Doe, it's like he's a designer out of New York. Kirby Jean Raymond, Pierre Moss.
Yo, pause on Pierre Moss.
Yeah,
we're gonna drop the needle on that. Yo, did you see his fashion show during COVID? Like during 20.
When he did in Brook, well, they all been in Brook, Weeksville. Oh wait, you talking? No. Are you talking about the one on the when he had Brent Faiyaz singing?
Yes,
I was there.
What?
Yeah, I went and saw that John in person.
I was this interview is blowing my fucking mind.
I was
watching that. I rewatched
right
it
before
again.
COVID. Yeah.
Okay, so it was right before COVID.
Right before COVID.
Yo, I rewatched it again because like. Again, I'm not a fashion dude, but I like fashion. I appreciate it. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, like, I'll just have Rihanna's Fenty show just playing in the background when I'm working on, like, interviews and, like, doing stuff for my podcast or, like, anything else. But in preparation for your interview, I was watching his fashion show on YouTube. Just had it on the background. Just had to had it on the speaker. Wasn't really paying attention to it, but just had it in the background, just, like, creating questions. And that's crazy. You were there.
Yeah.
Like,
it was open to the public. Like, they literally send out an email and, like, a newsletter. And
see, I'm not one of the cool kids. I don't get those emails. You know who emails me every day?
Just get on a newsletter.
HelloFresh and Indeed. Like, that's it. Like, that's who emails me every day at work. And I just, like, be trying to, like,
he was dope. And he really had us in Brooklyn. Like, we were in Brooklyn.
That's wild. Yeah. Before I'm looking at my questions. Before I get into that, I want to ask you about fits and grits.
Grits and fits.
Oh shit.
All good.
Grits and fits.
Yeah.
All right. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So Grits and Fits, in short, is a brunch event series. Building this out essentially to be a space to do what, you know, we kind of started this interview talking about connectivity, right? I probably speak for many when I say that like COVID really disrupted our social fabric, like how we interact, the cadence in which we interact.
And it stopped the bag.
Yeah, for real. And I think that if there's one thing that brings us all together is food, like, you know, and, you know, of course, as I've started to do this Kitchen Ebonics stuff, people, you know, do you sell plates? And it's like, nah, that's not how I care to go about it. But I think that what I can do is curate events, right? That's something I've been doing for a while with my brand. So I wanted to bring the culinary aspect into it and break bread with people. Like, literally, you know, the slogan I'm kind of playing around with was break bread and build bridges because, you know, the history of humans is like the table has always been like a place where we slow down and like make time to be with one another. And kind of taking notes from something I'm not like super familiar with, but I know exists in the world with like wealthy people where they have like, you know, dinner parties or soirees or whatever. And they like lobby for politicians or raise money for some venture. Like, that's a thing that they do regularly, right? So it's like, how can we do that on a level in our community where, you know, we have like, our community has a lot of resources that we need already. It's just a matter of getting in the room together to bring them together, right? So like, simply put, grits is the food, fits is like the fashion. It's a part of brunch culture. People like to, you know what I'm saying, put that shit on.
Yeah, throw that shit on.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And to bring in the whole dinner party aspect of it, the future vision of this is that we could reach a point like after with this is like be sponsors of the event is free, and we curate and kind of like invite people with intention to this space who we know have resources that say like the creatives in Philly may lack. Like thinking about the designers that I know who, maybe they're just one sewing machine shy of like blowing their operation up, right?
Right.
So it's like, let's say everybody in this room is here for free having a meal. They all happen to have access to X amount of capital. Everybody puts in this much, and let's help this person get to where they need to go. So that's like the future vision of it. And then here and now, the goal is in November to actually do our first event and just break bread with people.
Yo, yeah. I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not just saying that. I want to be invited.
Of course.
Can I be invited? Can I get a plus
one? Yeah, it will be a ticketed event. So
can I get a plus one?
Of course. Yeah.
We got it on camera. Okay. No.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, what's some of your favorite things to cook?
Ooh, favorite things to cook. So my great grandma makes a joke. She used to call me Chicken Boy, like, cause he's like, you always eat chicken.
Everybody.
But honestly, yeah, like low key, like chicken thighs specifically. I feel like when I discovered chicken thighs, my life changed. And it's one thing you have chicken thighs like in the variety pack of chicken, like from the grocery store from Popeyes. When you have like the chicken thighs, you fry them yourself. Nothing like it. Nothing like it. I think specifically my favorite thing to make though is
I want some. I'm vegetarian.
Look, jerk chicken or like just jerk fried rice. So instead of just making like regular, fried rice, but like make it like jerk style. Game changer, 100% game changer. I haven't made in a while, so now I gotta make it.
You gotta make it, and my audience is all smoking, so they're hungry right now. Like it's like they just like ooh, what Uber Eats got? Now, all right, so we're gonna switch gears a little bit.
Okay.
We're gonna talk about music, and you put me onto a lot of good music when we worked at Uncle Bobby's together, because you would take over the aux, and like it was cool when you took over, but when other people took over, I don't want to listen to this. But one artist in particular that you put me onto, and I still rock with him, and I'm wondering like, okay, the baby's getting a little older, so like, why aren't you in the studio? Is Sir, and homie's amazing, and I'm such a like, I obsess over things. Like if I like an artist, I'll find their whole life. So I was introduced to D Smoke, and I was introduced to his mom, who was like into gospel, and she was like a background singer. And then I was introduced to other artists who just happens to be friends with him. I found a documentary, like YouTube. It's a fan made one. I'm gonna send you the link. It's 15 minutes and 46 seconds, because I rewatched that too in preparation for your interview. But yeah, what are you listening to these days?
Ooh, I gotta pull up my phone.
All right.
Yeah.
Can somebody really take notes for me?
Like late to Spotify.
Yeah. I'm gonna like, comment, and subscribe, because I'm gonna watch my own podcast and get this list. We got it on camera.
Burna Boy.
Yeah,
man, he's dope. There's another artist. His name is LUJ, and he has this song called Love a Rock. Amazing. Dijon, he's dope.
How do you spell that? Because I'm a little
like
dumb.
Mustard, DIJON.
Oh, like the mustard. Okay.
Yeah.
DJ Mustard's name is actually that. That's his first name.
Wow.
That's his first name. Shout out to DJ Mustard. Mustard on the beat. Hope.
Okay, what else? TR Wack. Love TR Wack.
Yo, she was just here in Philly.
Yeah, I know. I didn't.
You know Lex from Bobby's, right?
Uh-huh.
She was there at the concert. She got to meet her, and Tierra Wack was like braiding her braids. It was like a whole moment. Shout out to Lex.
She's dope. She's friends. We have a mutual friend. She came to that event. She bought merch for me. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So Tierra Wack owns Artistry Lunch Money. Trying to go through, see what else is here. Lucky Day. I actually went to see him.
I like Lucky Day.
Yeah,
his mic be on. He sings.
He sings.
his mic be on, like,
Yeah.
and it's not auto tune. It's not like that BET Award situation with Giveon.
Mhm.
It's not like what's his name, the boy, the birthday sex boy Jeremiah from the. It's not
Yeah.
that. I'm shady on this show. I know you're very not shady. I'm gonna be shady for you because you
Oh
understand.
no, I
you
got
know?
hot takes. You just gotta.
I'm being calm. I'm being respectful. Oh, we about to get into some things.
Yeah. Another one I gotta put in there real quick. La Russell. He really been like doing this thing. La Russell. Yeah, he been making a lot of noise on Instagram. He been doing backyard concerts and like bringing out like yeah. He tough.
Nice.
Yeah.
I gotta check him out.
For sure.
You taking notes? Oh, we got the video. It's a whole podcast. I get so lost in the conversation that I forget the camera's here. I forget the lighting is here unless my forehead is real shiny. But that's dope. You are dope again because you not only got to see Kendrick for this new tour once, but you got to see him twice.
Yeah.
Can you explain that experience? Can you just give
So I saw him last year in November. At Day in Vegas, and then I just saw him last month. And I'll be on. This is okay. We're going hot takes. So we had this conversation.
That's what I
in the
need.
chat, and I was saying, I was like, man, like I think my perspective these days, like I don't really be saying music trash. It's like it's just not for me. Like I don't think this is the album I waited 6 years for. Like there were parts of it that were really good, and then there were parts where it just lost me. Like to keep it a buck. And the reason why I ended up going to the concert was because I thought we were going as a unit, and this was I bought the tickets really early in my listening to it because it was actually one of those albums like some albums growing up, like I listened to more and I was like I don't know if I feel like as pulled to this as I did for like Damn or like Good Kid, Mad City or To Pimp a Butterfly. It's like because those albums meant something too because of the place and space I was at in life, like it was like. When I like oversimplified it, like my hot take about it was like, damn, like we waited 6 years to hear about him cheating on his wife and like say faggot a bunch of times. Like I'm sorry, the F-bomb a bunch of times. Like it didn't feel like the album that like I waited so long for. And I think I have high expectations of the artists that I like.
That's what I was gonna say.
Like that I have close, like how do you say it, like that I grew up with, you know what I mean? Like Kendrick, I grew up with. I can't say that for Tupac or Biggie and all these people. It's like, people like 90s. It's like, bro, you born 97, you barely 90s. Baby.
My old ass can say I grew up with Tupac and Biggie.
I know my limits. I know where I gotta like cut it off, right? So, I wanted more from him, and I think also too because like I was having these expectations of like the influence of Baby Keem, like cause I'm a huge fan of Baby Keem. I saw him like. Also, right before COVID hit in Brooklyn, like $15 tickets. Like, never pay that little for a concert of his again. And he packed that joint out. Like,
yo, is it crazy that I only know one song by him, and that's the one with Kendrick?
I believe it. Yeah, I believe it. He's still like somebody that people are like coming to know.
All right, so I'm gonna make a mental note to like get into his work.
Yeah. I can send you some specifically, or some that's like SoundCloud specific. But yeah, so it didn't deliver like I thought it would. So. Yeah.
Dang. Do you have a favorite song on that album?
I Choose Me. Actually, I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
Is that the title? I don't know if it's the name of the song, but like I choose me.
He just put out a video for
We Cry Together. Yeah.
I want to know who the girl is on the record.
She's an actress.
She's amazing.
She's actually dating Jesse Williams. From Grey's Anatomy,
the blue-eyed, light-skinned boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Taylor Page. She's also
in
Zola. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah,
She's in there. Yeah. That story.
Did you see
crazy.
That movie?
I haven't finished it.
Oh my god.
She's an amazing actress. I did not notice who that was until. So the girl in the video is the girl is the same woman that's on the track. Yeah.
Okay.
She played her role.
I want to go watch Zola again, just to like take it in, because I watched it with my cousin and like we were talking the whole time. I'm the worst person to watch a movie with. I gotta watch it by myself.
Mm-hmm. Do you know the backstory of like how?
Yes. The tweets.
Yeah.
Yeah. And nutty. Then even watching the movie, because I told you I obsess over everything. I was reading the tweets.
Yeah.
Like oh shit, that happened, like yo.
Yeah.
But like, oh man. So I have this thing where I have like a certain type of loyalty to female hip hop artists.
Respectfully.
Because I feel like the male hip hop artists are usually they get their flowers, because this is the episode about giving folks their flowers.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just not hip hop, but my show is based around like the culture, hip hop,
Yeah.
R&B, soul music, black music. So, are there any artists, past, present, future, if you know anybody coming up, any female black artists that you want to like shout out?
Missy Elliott.
Absolutely.
No hesitation. Missy Elliott.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. What's your favorite Missy song?
Oh. I feel like I'm cliche to say I can't stand the rain, but
I was playing that this morning.
yeah,
Because it was fucking raining.
Yeah.
And I hate the rain.
Why.
Yeah.
But yeah, Missy, like, I don't, it's just aesthetically, right? Like, the video she was putting together, like, yeah, I just, even like, I was really saddened by like the response was the Super Bowl. People not knowing who she was or understanding her impact.
That shit pissed me off.
To me.
I went on the Twitter.
It's
I don't go on a lot of Twitter rants because I don't use the app that much. I usually use Twitter just to screenshot so I can put it on my Instagram, because I don't want to use the notes and I don't want to use the little background for the story because those are kind of corny.
Yeah.
And it looks cool for the tweet because I got my picture and everything, and it says the Awkward King's Day.
Right.
So I was so annoyed by that.
Yeah.
Like, how don't you know Missy? Aside from Missy's work on her own, like her own stuff, she's worked with legends.
Yeah.
She has records, not just a record. She has records with Whitney Houston. She has records with Beyonce.
Yeah.
She has records with Jay-Z. She has records with who's one of my favorites. He might not be your favorite, but he's one of my favorites, Ludacris.
Okay.
Ludacris is like top tier. She has a record with my favorite person in the world. She's no longer with us, Lisa Left Eye Lopez. She was on the Lil Kim record, Ladies Night. And it had another. All of my inspirations are on that song. Angie Martinez on the radio side. She's dabbled in rap. She has the first verse. Lil Kim.
Yeah, I heard about that in some interview recently.
Yeah.
I think.
Did you watch the Joe Budden one?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, Missy is somebody that like, I hope that we revisit that sooner rather than later. Like that she doesn't have to like leave this earth for us to understand like how impactful she is and has been to like hip hop culture.
You know what bothered me more recently about Missy Elliott? She had tweeted, "What's the difference between an iconic song and a classic?" Or no, a hit song and a classic. And they're going to call me the Nicki Minaj hater. I love Nicki Minaj. But Nicki Minaj fans were like swarming her like crazy. Like, what you mean? And it's because Nicki was up for the MTV Michael Jackson Video Vanguard Award, where she deserved it. She if anybody was going to get it from her era, she deserved it. But like these little cult like fans have become so crazy to attack a legend. And it was a basic question. I don't think Missy was being malicious.
Yeah, people get
because
a chance
she even
to reach
congratulated Nicki prior to this tweet, saying like, "Yo, you deserve this. Like, congratulations from one winner to the next." Like, it was wild. But like, who else you got?
Who else? SZA. I actually got to see her in November as well. Besides the fact that she be lying all the time.
She lies a lot. There's a whole
oh man.
There's a whole situation on Twitter.
Serial liar.
She's a serial liar. What about them freckles?
Oh,
are they real or are they not?
They are not.
Okay.
Dang, you really challenging me to think. Because I feel like I make so many playlists.
So I can give you mine.
Okay, yeah, please.
And then you can chime in if you want.
Right.
So one of the women that I want to recognize in black music, who I feel like should be recognized.
Yeah.
And like the crazy thing is, I was not a fan of this girl at first because I was like, oh, she's overplayed, she's this, she's that. But this last album she put out, I was like, oh, I'm a fan. Summer Walker. Summer Walker is that girl. She inspired my Instagram name, and she inspired a new venture that I'm working on because her Twitter, not her Twitter handle, but like the name is the Awkward Queen.
Yeah.
And I
Did
was
you watch
like,
her chicken interview with the
yes,
UK girl? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was awkward as fuck.
Very.
But like, I understood because I'm an awkward as fuck nigga. But Summer Walker deserves her flowers. Like, she deserves it. I gave Solange Knowles her flowers last episode.
Yeah, I can't forget Solange.
I was like ranting about her for like 4 minutes.
Yeah,
like, last episode.
Just that. Me and my friend Marlon talk about this all the time. Saw Things I Imagine. I think that's her best song ever.
Do you?
100%. The reason why is like she just sang the same thing over and over again, but it's like I listened to that song to a point where I understood. Like my interpretation of it is like repetition. Like saw things I imagine. Saw
See, you
things
have such
I
a dope
imagine.
brain.
Like
that is my least favorite song by her. I hate that song.
Nah,
I skip it
that
as soon
song,
as I hear
like,
it come on.
It just does.
No matter
something
where
to
I
me.
am, if I'm playing music at work, skip next.
Yeah, it's like it feels
So now
like
I
a
gotta-
thought.
now
It
I
feels
gotta
like a
go
thought,
back.
not a song. Like she's just thinking out loud, and it
Oh my
happens to
God,
be
I'm such
like
I'm such an ass though,
recording.
because you said it feels like a thought. It feels annoying to me.
Really,
Mhm.
you're not thinking enough. No, I was kidding.
Shit,
Nah,
I wasn't thinking enough.
that song. Like, yeah, there's no words I can like really articulate as to like what this song means.
All right, and the last black woman that I want to give their roses, she had a situation with Solange's sister where she was sampled on Beyonce's new album. I think this song was called Heated, where they sampled the La-Las from her Milkshake song, Khalees. So growing up as an awkward little boy, listening to alternative music, that's what they call it.
Yeah.
They call it alternative music. Was my thing. And then to see a black woman with crazy ass hair and like just look like a goddess, and she's saying shit that I say. Like she had a song called Sugar Honey Iced Tea. Yeah. And I thought I was cool for knowing what Sugar Honey Iced Tea was. And then she put her song out, and then she had a song called Caught Out There that like grabbed me in because she was screaming on it. Yeah. That's why on her Bossy song, I'm the first girl to scream on the track. She did. She was screaming. She did that. I love her. Yeah. And what made me love her even more is when she got married to Nas, because Nas is the King Virgo season, September 19th. Nas is the 14th of September. And I grew up listening to him.
Yeah, legend.
I don't agree with him and his actions because the reason they broke up was put out later. But shout out to Khalees for being an awesome black woman who deserves her flowers.
Yeah. I got to slide one more in there real quick.
Ooh, you got one more.
Willow.
Yes.
If
you haven't latest album that she put out, I think it was an album or EP.
I was gonna go back a little bit. Are you familiar with The Anxiety?
Yes.
That album.
The album cover alone.
Yeah. I feel like it didn't get appreciated when it came out, and it's not appreciated now because it came out when nobody's paying attention to music. And that I remember playing in the car. My mom, we was doing some road trip or whatever. She's like, "Why you?" My mom is not into like any of that stuff. So she's like, "Why are you playing this like rock music?" I'm like, "Actually, black people, brought
Little
rock
Richard
to the world."
invented rock and roll.
So I had to educate her real quick, and she bared it for the rest of the car ride. But that album is really like something.
That album and so we're done off the black women. Black women got their flowers. But that album, and then Jaden Smith's Sire album. We may not like, people may be on some stuff about Jada. They may be on some stuff about,
toxicity.
Cause she's a Virgo too. Jesus. They may be on some stuff because Will smacked the piss out of Chris at the Academy Awards. But their kids are like amazing. Like when I listen to Jaden Smith's music, I started listening to him at my old job. I used to manage this gelato shop, and one of my homies had put me on. We were in his car one night. I was like, "Yo, who is this?" He was like, "This Jaden Smith." I was like, any relation to Will? He was like, that's his son.
Yeah.
I was like, the Karate Kid?
Right.
Oh, he's grown now? Like, because.
Yeah. It's really dope to see the talents they have because a lot of people who grow up rich make that their personality.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like they have no real talent. They just happen to be rich.
I'm waiting to see what's up with Kim and Kanye's kids. I feel like North is going to do something big.
Possibly, yeah.
Saint might be a rapper.
She told Kanye something he did was trash one.
And she know.
Yeah.
Because she was dressed better than her mom at the fashion
show. Yeah.
Like way better than her mom.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
Yeah. But all right, I got some more questions for you.
Right.
Oh, you want to go back to the clothes? You want to go back to Oh, this T-shirt. All right. So if y'all can't hear him, Tragic is asking where can he get this T-shirt. You can't. This T-shirt was custom made because I was working in a pop-up shop that
it's staff merch
that you did. Because it says staff in the back. I'm not gonna stand up. Y'all don't need all that. But it says staff in the back, and you had it at CJ Wolf's Immortal.
Shout out Immortal Vision Studio.
Immortal Vision Studios, and shout out to even like you being a part of that because like that made me connect with him.
Yeah, on the photography tip.
On the photography tip, on the creative tip. Like I talk to Bull like at least once a week, like on Instagram, like resharing his stuff, and like I definitely want to get him on here.
Have a conversation I need to tap back in with him honestly.
I thought he was dope that day, and then he had a birthday, and he turned like 20 something. I'm like, oh, he's a baby, like, and he's doing like
on the news,
crazy things, like on the news, like with the flashcards, and like he's amazing. But like, I'll let you speak on more to the fashion stuff.
Yeah, I mean the where we at with it now. So I took a hiatus just to, live life. It's expensive to run a brand. to be honest, I moved across the country, and that costs a lot of money. But I'm getting back into it, so I actually just put in an order for some merchandise supposed to be ready this week. So that post over there is actually kind of a preview of what's to come.
Let's grab the post.
Yeah, and I can talk about that because this is the first time I'm talking about it publicly. But this is
the first time you're talking about it publicly?
Yeah.
I got an exclusive on the Fidelity Xone podcast episode number 3.
So those who can't read it, it says the future is brighter with you in it. And it means a lot. It means a lot to me for a couple reasons, but I think especially like, to get into the aspect of like black men and mental health, like COVID was challenging for me in that way where I felt like I was sitting with my thoughts for longer than I had ever had before. And it was rough, keep it a buck. Like, I'm grateful that I had the people around me I did, and even just like, on a simple level, like more people praying for me than praying on me to like know that like what may have felt confusing, was something I need to go through, if you will. And I have a level of exposure to mental health like through my father. Like struggle with mental illness. And I really didn't learn it until later in life. And I think like as I've like thought through my own life, I was like, man, like maybe that makes sense why I felt the way I did. I'm like excited to say like now I'm in counseling, and seeking help in that way, like kind of by way of a friend who sent this resource to me. There's a therapy practice that actually offers low to no cost therapy services for black and brown people. It's called what's it called? I have to look it up, but
is it Black Men Heal?
No.
Okay, because they offer like low to no.
Nah, it's not Black Men. Soul Care Collective. Yeah, and they had a bunch of people donate to this campaign, essentially raise money for, making mental health services available. And it's done a number on my life, but to go back to what that statement means, it's like, I think that, sometimes when you're in something dark or in a dark space, it's hard to like see or believe what's in front of you. But like that's a mantra, like the future's brighter with you in it. Cause I had to convince myself or believe that like there was a future I deserved to be in and a future that I wanted to be in. Right. Like, and also seeing people around me, like I'm sorry, the mic was far. That I know of a person who took their life, right? Like, I wish I could have got that message to them. And I know that disproportionately our community, I didn't realize until I started to see the numbers how many black men take their own lives.
Yeah.
And that statement isn't going to save lives, but it might be a reminder to somebody differently than how when people read that shirt and it sparks a conversation. I think as I continue forward in this brand, I want it to be more all encompassing that even like as it relates to the arts, like artists sometimes tend to be very odd people because they have a lot going on up here. No differently than like comedians. Like they're funny because their lives are actually really fucking tragic. You know, like so. Let's talk about it. Like, let's put the message on our clothing and create some conversation and like spark something, you know, more than just like cool merch, right? So as I'm getting back into it, the approach here is that like the merch will still be a part of it, but it's trying to create items or things that like could live on a wall or somebody encounters and it like, you know, does something in their brand in a way that like the merch alone won't do. So I'm getting into branding anything and everything I can. I was at work today. I was like, air fresheners. I was like just thinking of like a bunch of different random stuff. So that message is really part of a larger campaign I'm hoping to build out with this through this brand, but almost as like a standalone in itself, if that makes sense. Yeah. And then even just have some confirmation from friends of like, yo, like mental health awareness month. Like it's just like the timing is almost perfect because I probably beat myself up over the last 9 months having not put anything out or had something to deliver. But the reality is like most of that pressure is up here. Nobody's like knocking on my door like need the you know what I mean? Like
I mean I kinda am. I
need but that pressure is good too. Sometimes you need to kick in the ass like yo, like we miss you. Like we miss what you put out because it just felt good to see you doing something, you know? So in that way to come back with this feels like, you know, forcibly there were moments where I was going to put stuff out and it just didn't work out or the money wasn't there or whatever it was. But it's like, this is literally working. Like everything is falling into place. And God willing, next month I'll actually be doing a kind of a relaunch party in October back home in Cincy. So
nice.
Fingers crossed all falls into place. But otherwise the merchandise will be rolling out here shortly.
Nice. Yeah. I like that. Because I was kind of scared when I saw you change your Instagram name. I'm like, wait, is there no more? Like, wait, like he wiped it out. Like I couldn't even, in preparations to do the interview, I was like going through your Instagram and I'm like, it's food. But
yeah. I did say the name. No, Truly Antonio does still exist.
It does.
Yes.
Okay.
Does. Yeah.
Wait, so you changed the name, but you can keep the old name?
I like just use another profile.
Like, okay. Because I was like, because I changed my name a lot, and I was like, wait, can I go back to like the old John? Like, I thought you had a cool kid way to do that.
No, I don't know.
Damn. All right, so on this show, we play a game called This or That.
Okay.
And it's like you will choose either this or that. And on this one, I'm gonna do music, and I'm gonna do like movies.
Okay.
So the first one for movies. And I'm old, so you may not have even seen these. And if it's okay, if you didn't,
I like to say I'm generationally like fluid because my grandparents are so young. You know what I mean? It's
Okay.
Yeah.
So, the Temptations movie or the 5 Heartbeats.
5 Heartbeats.
Why?
It's so dramatized. Like maybe I like drama, but yeah, because of how dramatized it is.
A little messy.
Yeah.
Do you know that the 5 Heartbeats movie is not based on an actual group?
I learned that like
that's a fictional group.
Yeah.
I was blown away.
Yeah. They did a Broadway show, right? Or that one might have been about the Temptations specifically or something.
I know that Motown did one. Maybe the Temptations had their own. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I love that movie. The Temptations movie actually made me actually like my brother Kevin. Shout out to Kevin. We bonded over that movie when we were younger, like, because we didn't have anything in common until we saw that movie and we realized that we both liked music and we both wanted to do music. And then we both grew up and, like, I don't do music.
Had to be adults.
He does music. Yeah. Love and Basketball or Brown Sugar?
Love and Basketball.
Have you seen Brown Sugar?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's Love and Basketball.
What makes you like Love and Basketball more?
Man, why do I love and Basketball? It's just
it's toxic as fuck.
BT made me love it. One,
because they play it.
BT made me love it. One, you can't run from that movie if you try. Second of all, it is also slightly toxic.
Omar Epps' character was the definition of an F-boy.
Yeah. Oh man, but
like I'm surprised he didn't have an undercut and everything. Like that's like that hairstyle.
The dragon tail.
You got it.
I'll let that slide.
No, it's all love.
No,
Go ahead, talk.
What else? I think at that time too, I thought I was, everybody think they're gonna grow up and be
Hoop
a hooper.
dreams.
Yeah. So, you say I felt that personally as a non-hooper, Yeah.
So I think that's what made me like draw towards Brown Sugar, because it was music, it was hip hop, it was
okay.
and it was like
that makes sense.
Yeah, I can't shoot a ball to save my life. if my mom was dependent on me to make a basket, like
yeah,
we might as well just start planning a funeral, like, because it's like
it's done for.
Like what? But speaking of Brown Sugar, I wanted to like interrupt the this or that, and I want to ask you the question that I asked the last group that was here. When did you fall in love with hip hop?
When did I fall in love with hip hop? It's funny because I guess I grew up with it so much in my life. I don't ever remember not listening to it. But I can tell you the album that changed my life.
What is it?
Illmatic. And a white man put me onto it.
Yo, white people be knowing sometimes.
Well, no,
sometimes
white people really
knowing.
be consuming hip hop. Like
they
if
do.
you go to the shows, it's like it's white people.
Yeah,
like
because they can afford the fucking tickets.
Right. Let's call a spade a spade. Like, I was working. I probably was like 15, 16 at the time. I was working at this like arts company or whatever, and this dude, he was a skater, ran a screen printing company, like literally epitome of like what is it, the deadhead, like the hippie dippy like white dude. Still my OG to this day, like, and he was like, "Yo, you ever listen to Illmatic?" I was like, "Nah." He was like, "What?" Like sometimes white people, they try to shame you into things, but usually from their culture. It's like, no, I'm not watching that dumb.
You don't know Radiohead?
Like, yeah, it's like absolutely not. No. I don't, and I don't feel any shame about it. But he was like, put me on for my, to my culture, and I was like, I listened to the album. I was like, thank you, bro. Like this album, like even, and I guess I admit I have a proximity to like, people who sell drugs. My dad used to sell drugs. I can say that, he convicted, he out now, whatever. But like, I felt I was with him where he was in that time at that time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
He can never make a body of work like that ever again, because what they say, it takes you as long as it, however long it does to make your first album. And he really made a first album that like made a lasting impression.
That's why first albums are so important.
Yeah.
Because like that's your whole life up to that point.
It's the longest
and then
you'll
like
ever take.
after that's why they have this, they call it the sophomore jinx. It's like how do you follow that up?
Right.
Like and there's been some artists who can do that, like but not a lot of artists can do that second record and like continue
to build. Yeah.
Like Nas has like a career that like has spanned 30 years, about 30 years.
Yeah.
So like it's crazy.
Hip hop turns 50 next year.
Crazy. We should have a big block party in New York, and we're gonna go. I'm gonna be outside. Are you that outside? No. It's crazy that a white person put you onto Illmatic, because a white person put me onto Wu-Tang Clan.
Word.
Yeah.
Lot of
I knew who Wu-Tang was. I knew Cream. I knew the hits.
Like the classics.
But I didn't know like the body of work.
Depth, yeah.
And my old coworker, you know him, Christopher CLP. He put me onto Wu-Tang. I had a Wu-Tang. It was like a pen on my book bag, because I'm a backpack kid. And he was like, "Yo, I'll give you whatever you want for that pen." And I had just paid like $1 for it from Retrospect. Repo Records on South Street. And I was like, "You can have it." He was like, "Do you know how much that album changed my life?" It was 36 Chambers. "Do you know how that album changed my life?" And I was like, "I only know Cream and Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with." But like, go off, white boy. But then I went home and I listened to it, and then I listened to it again and listened to it again and again and again. And I'm like, yo, Method Man is a problem. RZA is my favorite person in the world. I call him RZA.
Yeah.
Ghostface Killer has the voice that should be narrating some type of movie. Like, he should be doing voiceovers.
Yeah.
Like, Raekwon is dope. He has a song on his more recent album that samples of Marvin. It's called A Letter to Marvin.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because
How did you feel about I didn't interrupt you.
Go
the
ahead,
Hulu John?
The what?
The Hulu like series about them.
Yo. You know what annoys me the most about the Hulu series?
Yeah.
Is that they don't put all the episodes out at once.
Mm.
I gotta wait, and I'm a bingey type of person. Like,
Yeah.
Cause I'm not off that often, and like when when I get off, I wanna just like chill.
Tune into it. Yeah.
I don't wanna just like really. I gotta wait till next week for another
Right.
episode. That Hulu series is amazing, and the actor that plays RZA, he deserves all his things. Flowers. You want to send him bottles, money, cash apps.
Yeah.
Because he's really like he took on. I literally had to go back.
I need to like continue watching it, but yeah,
I had to go back and watch old Wu-Tang interviews, like stuff that they played in
to see how
the
well
series. And I'm like, yo, he's talking like him. He's like moving like him. He's like, I can't even
the mannerisms,
like, the mannerisms and everything.
Yeah,
like
it's tough to do. A
even,
living person,
even like trying to rap, like he's right on from the cadence, like everything.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like that boy did his homework.
Yeah. Yeah.
He did his homework. But back to this or that.
Yeah.
Are you ready for this?
All right.
Biggie or Nas?
Nas. Yeah.
Nas.
Yeah. 100%.
Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. My name is Zay the Awkward King. And this boy just said Nas. You're the second person to say Nas.
It's the only right answer, man.
What? Last time you said Jay-Z or Nas?
Wait.
That's a different
I
question.
said that question wrong. Oh, my God. But, yo.
Yeah. I thought that was an odd combo,
Biggie or Nas? He said Nas. It's Biggie or Tupac. But he said he.
Yeah.
Wait, let's talk about it. Let's break it down. Let's like meet. Let's
Okay, I gotta say, I have to admit, it's not from a fully informed perspective. I'm not like listening to their catalog, but because of the effect that Illmatic had and the songs I've listened to Nas since then, even like the most recent stuff, King Disease, is probably like more critical, but I feel like he got better beats now, so we getting better music. I can appreciate Biggie for his lyricism. Like he really he can rap. Like, that's not to be debated, but
the boy can spit.
I don't listen to Biggie.
Right.
So I can't pick, you know what I'm saying? It wouldn't make sense, right? Like to say Biggie, I can't pick him. I don't listen to him.
All right, so the last question for this or that. And I kind of know where you're going to swing with it because it's hometown. And this is different. I never asked this question to anybody in my life.
Okay.
Lil Romeo or Bow Wow?
Shad Moss.
I'm going to just sip my
Romeo
nice
Miller.
little cocktail in a coffee cup.
Believe it or not, I gotta go with Lil Romeo.
Damn, I thought he was going to cheese.
Listen, he had a show. That show was classic.
No, watch your flow. It's time for the Romeo show.
Yeah,
That was my shit.
That was classic.
That was my shit.
Yo, like, it should have been more seasons, right? Like, I'm about to go watch it now, but yeah, Bow Wow missed. He didn't have a show. He got little
He had
like
movies.
Mike, right?
He
Like,
had movies.
he definitely a rep for Ohio. Don't get me wrong. Like, we got to get love for that reason, but yeah, Lil Romeo. I mean, he the son of Percy Miller. Like,
yeah,
Master P. Like, he's somebody that doesn't get their flowers.
yeah.
The contracts he's
You
got
want to give
people out of.
We giving him his flowers now.
Oh man, like he's gotten people out of like he got Snoop out of the contract with
Death Row.
Death Row, like what? This man playing the NBA. Like this man literally like.
He is literally who a lot of people say they are.
Right.
But he's
He
literally
really did
that person. Like he's like
he was really selling.
That's
CDs
why I
out the
appreciated
trunk,
Solange having him on the interludes and the Seat at the Table album.
He's really from New Orleans. Like, you know what I mean? Like, everything he's about, like, is Romeo. Man.
He pulls up the Romeo show. Who was the white lady?
Must have been insignificant.
What's her name?
A diversity hire.
Oh, shit. They had to meet quota.
They had to meet their white quota.
They had to meet quota. Nickelodeon. Come on.
I really don't remember her. Wow.
I don't remember no white people.
Somebody said something at work, too, that, like,
What's
woke
her
up a
name?
memory.
I still don't know her. Would Mariah Carey say, I don't know her?
Or,
Yeah, he was
Keke
the
Palmer,
dad.
she said, I ain't never seen that man
I
a
ain't
day in
never
my
seen
life.
that man. Keke Palmer is
Another one.
another one who needs
Multi-talented.
her
Oh my
flowers.
God.
And she's a Virgo.
And she's what, only 27, 28?
And she's a Virgo.
Okay.
And she's a now. Did you see Nope?
Yes.
How'd you feel about it?
Okay.
You wrote something about
I
it.
did write about it.
I can't find it.
But I still have.
The link wasn't in the bio.
Nah, yeah, I gotta link it back.
Can you send it to me? Because I wanted to
send
read
it
it
to
at the. Me and Jay saw it. When we missed the first, like when it was supposed to come out. But we saw it and like
Yeah.
I wanted to read that.
So I got to see it like, so I learned this kind of by accident or remembered this. Like, so when movies come out the night before, like midnight before, they show them early. So I got to see it like.
Yeah, we knew
early.
about that. We were it was supposed to happen, but like something the friend so we were supposed to go see that, John.
Shit,
Yeah,
damn.
yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
So I saw that John early. Nah, yeah, I'm saying genuinely, like, dang, that sucks. Grief is terrible, man. Yeah, I saw that early, and like, I feel like so when I wrote about it, I was like, I feel like I gotta watch it again because there were definitely some like either plot holes or things that like weren't consistent. I think that it's not as like blatantly like with a message like a lot of his other movies have been, and I think that that's been lost on a lot of people. I think it's gonna take some time to grow. I will say though, like it kind of is like teetering that line. That's like how I feel about Marvel and a lot of other like blockbuster movies. It's like just because you put a bunch of money into a movie does not mean it's gonna be good. And like, and to connect to the whole Marvel thing, it's like a bunch of explosion and fight sequences will not replace a good plot. Like it don't matter how many people like, get their cars blown up, and it's like how many times are they gonna blow up New York, bro? Like we've seen this movie like too many times. So as my taste has changed, I really appreciate the movies that like, for example, like Moonlight, where it's like this movie's budget was like a fraction of what they spend on these Marvel movies.
Yo.
And it is one of the I got to see it in a theater, and just the cinematography, right? Like it don't matter like how much CGI is in the movie, like it's not gonna make up for the good plot. So.
And that's crazy, like when you said that, because I instantly thought about the movie Precious, because that budget was like
crumbs.
Nothing.
Yeah,
like it was nothing, and it became this big thing where like there were awards given. Monique won an Academy Award.
Yeah,
like she became one of maybe I don't even think we have 10, but like she became one of them, like black women to win in that category, and that's crazy. And that's another person who should get her flowers on this episode, because Monique was trying to school us a couple years ago, and people was like, "Oh, she crazy, she this, she that." Yeah. But then everybody came back around and was apologizing. She just wrapped a film with Lee Daniels. And now she's in 50 Cent's Power Book 2 Ghost. Like I don't know what her character is.
Okay.
But like she's in that. And 50 Cent was kind of like the person that was like, "Yo, I went to him and his girl. What's 50 Cent's girl? Cuban Doll. Me and my girl went to this comedy show like last night, and Monique was there, and she's fantastic. She's fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Why is she blacklisted? Like, why?" Yeah. And then that started the conversation. It's crazy that it took that, because this happened like a couple years after she was like on her thing with Netflix.
Yeah,
and she was
it's
saying,
sad
like,
how we like chew up and spit out our
artists. Like,
like it's also sad though when they crash out, because the amount of time recently, what's the bull name? Irv Gotti. It's like some people I would be better off not knowing who they are and learning later like how significant they were. Like the dude who's the godfather of music, Clarence Avant. Yeah. He lived his whole life
under the radar. Under that shit. Like he has his hand in everything.
Even Missy Elliott, right? He's like, I don't know what she eating right now, but if I go look at Kendall Jenner's story, I probably know more about her life than I need to know.
Okay, so Kendall Jenner for lunch today, she had
you know what I mean? Like, there's a level of like beauty in like people living their lives and being normal people and not knowing everything.
And that's kind of what I miss from like I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, like,
from like before social media, like that sense of mystique, that sense of like in order to know what my favorite artist is doing, or in order to meet them, I gotta go to an Insta. I gotta go to FYE. I gotta go to Tower Records in Philly. I gotta go to these places. Yeah. I don't know what the fuck Beyonce did last night. It's not my business.
Right.
Like I don't know. I don't know that the baby and Danny Lay got in an argument in the fight and he kicked her out. I don't know that because it's not my business.
It really shouldn't.
But it also, that situation kind of helped her.
Right, because some things get brought to light. So it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
One of my homies makes this joke. You probably remember Marlon, the bull who like came through Uncle Bobby's a lot. He said, "There's a shortage of shame in the world. We got to bring back shame."
We do.
People don't.
And we got to bring back the real shame. Don't shame me because like I got on.
No. Right
Right now.
It's like where's the shame?
Like
people just crashing out every day.
It's sad. Yeah. How do you feel about cancel culture? We kind of tapped on that like 2 seconds ago.
How do I feel about it? I mean, I think that it's ambitious, but it oftentimes never messes up the bag for a lot of people, especially like musicians, because they still be getting checks. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that, like overarching how I think it works to our benefit is like really for accountability to take place, it has to come from your community. Meaning like you're not about to listen to somebody you don't know tell you what to do and what not to do. Like essentially putting it short, it's like we have to be just as willing to call people in as much as we call them out. Because when you call people out, sometimes they still gonna continue to do what the wrong actions they're doing because the repercussions are less when you Kanye, right? Like when you built enough of a platform, like it's almost like the impact is little, or the instances in which the people being called out have actually like seen the money go versus like the 3 years off and they come back and they like on a TV show. Like that happens all the time. It's like I think that we have to challenge the people around them as much as we do them to like have been culpable in their actions, which, you know, R. Kelly's a perfect example. Like there were a lot of people along the way. That's literally
the person I was thinking of like, when you were talking.
He is to be held accountable, right? How many people over the course of this much time turned a blind eye? That says a lot about our morality. Like, you feel me? Like the amount of people who said nothing at the expense of like making money, and it's like, yo, and I think that starts even at home, like teaching people the value of like just like humanity to the extent of knowing that like there's no amount of money that will clear your conscience of what you said or what you okayed essentially, like, or were silent to. And that's a lot of that stuff happens silently, right? So I think it's important that it's provided platforms for people to speak out about things that they didn't have previously. I think that like we have to start challenging, and then not just us, but like in our own spheres and circles of influence, like calling shit out when we see it, and like, you know, and I'm not just saying that for like people to feel challenged, but like really like have like, what I'm trying to say. I think that within all of this is like people probably don't have as strong convictions as they once did, but that should really change. I think for people to then feel more able to speak up and speak out when they see something versus like these people who are waiting 20 years also waited 20 years in a lot of cases because either nobody around them was listening, they didn't think they could talk to, you know what I mean? Like it says a lot about the people we're being surrounded by. So yeah.
Yo, that was the best answer to that question that I've ever received. Because like I even seen an interview that Kanye West did on Hollywood Unlocked with Jason Lee, and Jason asked him that question, and he did his Kanye thing where he answers everything but that thing. I love Kanye West. I'm not. This is not a Kanye bash session.
He'd be like I'm in an cancel culture.
Yeah.
Say something.
Like some shit like that. Like just flip it. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, and Jason is like trying his hardest to like, one, not
say half-sinated,
and like two, like, bitch, like what? Like, but like, I don't know. Cancel culture. I agree with you, but all right. So this is gonna be the last question, and then I'm gonna have you plug all of your things.
All right.
So everybody can follow you, know where to get merch from, know where to get food from. So the last question, drum roll, please. Now, what keeps you motivated?
Ooh, what keeps you motivated? God. I mean, I think that, you know, I believe in divine, you know, influence in my life, right? Like, there's something bigger over, you know, what is my life. Also, I'm the oldest of 7, and I'm close to my siblings. Like, you know, we didn't all grow up in the same house, but like, I'm close enough to them to know like when things are good or bad. Like we really like, you know, get into it, right? Like, I know that I'm as challenging it can be to be the oldest at times. I know I'm like it's purposed, right? Like that I have a ability to lead in a unique way. Yeah, and it's like I've heard it's a lot of quotes I could probably go through in my head right now, but just like thinking about the aspect of like things we've learned from the past about like indigenous cultures and how they like their ways of life and like how they like continued even in the midst of like horror at times, right? As far as settlers coming to this land and like taking stuff from them, it's like they had a knowing and or understanding of like what do you say, like a more collectivist society, right? We're probably more individualistic today, but I think I know and understand that like there's something that like should change or needs to change and shift in our culture to go back to this place of understanding like why it's important that we be connected and like how much further we get. It's kind of a quote, I don't know, it's not originally from Cory Booker, but it's like, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I think that that's like a guiding principle for me, for sure.
I love that. Unity.
Yeah.
Shout out to Queen Latifah. So right now we're going to wrap up the show. I'm going to give you the opportunity to plug your Instagrams, your websites, your Twitter, your Christian Mingle, everything. But go ahead.
Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram at Kitchen Ebonics, also on Twitter at Kitchen Ebonics, and that's Kitchen, EBONICS. Grits and Fits as well on Instagram. Lunch Money PLZ. That's where you can find more about the merch.
Not this one, but
soon to return. And yeah, that's it.
Yo, I want to thank you for being on the show, episode number 3.
Yeah,
give folks their flowers. Like, yo,
and I gotta big you up too, man, because I think that being around you, being in proximity to you, has reminded me like the learned habit of like receiving praise and like saying thank you and showing gratitude. So I want to thank you for that. You know what I'm saying? Like you need to hear that too, right? And also, yeah, bro, we still got to go out for drinks. I didn't forget.
We got to go out for drinks, but I was going to say we got to...
I didn't forget.
All right, so we got to go out for drinks, but I was also going to say, because we were talking about it before you moved, before COVID, we got to find a church.
I got you, bro. I got you.
Drinks in church?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Brews and Bibles.
Brews and Bibles. That's the name.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you. Jesus and Jameson.
Oh, man, I got you.
Yo, but this wraps up episode number 3, Fidelity Xone, the podcast. I'm your awkward king. My name is Zay. I'm signing out. Peace.